Were you silent or were you silenced?
Think of your brother and his transition over the years.
You know, I really don't talk about my brother really anymore.
Have you ever felt this way before?
Nearly 20 years later, this remains an unforgettable moment.
You know the one about eating.
Yeah, you know, people are going to write what they want to write. We try not to read the good or the bad because it just kind of comes with the territory.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be the next president and vice president of the United States.
Oprah this way! Right here.
My reaction is that free speech not only lives, it rocks.
Not everyone loves Oprah, and I think Mary-Kate and Ashley, Janet Jackson, Monique, and a couple of other notable names have pretty good reasons why. So Oprah came under fire back in 2021 for an interview she did in 2004 where she asked Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen what clothing size they were. Sure, at the time of the interview, rumors had been circulating that Mary-Kate was suffering from an eating disorder, but that doesn't make it okay. Even if they were already budding fashion designers, still not okay. Later that year, the actress turned fashion designer spent time in a rehab facility to receive treatment for a health-related issue. And then Ashley was quick to step in and say, yeah, you know what, people are gonna write what they're gonna write. We try not to read the good or the bad because it just comes with the territory. Either you're too fat, too skinny, but then Oprah interrupted saying, well, what size are you, by the way? And like, you can see Mary-Kate and Ashley both looking very uncomfortable, and rightfully so. And like Ashley tried to play it off being like, size, like, oh, like we're both petite. And then Oprah was not having it. She's like, oh, that's so interesting. Like, I'm obsessed with size. And like, you're like, I don't really know. This whole interaction makes me so uncomfortable because you can just tell that Oprah is looking for a story, for a news headline. And the girls are just like, hey, let's talk about our career. Let's talk about anything other than stuff that's actually troubling us. Janet Jackson's beef with Oprah Winfrey is also extremely personal for different reasons. So while Janet's A-okay on being interviewed with Oprah, and she was horrified when her brother's family was called on the show. She saw that as Oprah using Michael's family as a means to boost her ratings, and that's just disgusting. There are sources that have reported that there was an intense conversation between the duo, one that created a lasting feud, and rightfully so. Sure, yes, Michael did pass away, but his family was not old enough to be able to know to go on that show or not at the time when that happened. Back in March of 2010, Monique won the Best Supporting Actress Academy Award for her performance in Precious. And after that, she's been very open about her beliefs that she was blackballed in the entertainment industry for quite a long period of time at the hands of media moguls such as Oprah Winfrey. Oprah has a lot of power to this day, even though she doesn't have her talk show anymore. She still has her hands in a lot of things. And she happens to be the talk show host who had an interview with Monique's family days after Monique's big career accomplishment, which sounds great in theory, but just wait for the context, folks. Oprah sat down with the comedian's older brother, Gerald, who harmed Monique growing up. This was the first time he had admitted to his crimes. He confessed to also being a victim of the same actions by other family members, but that's not important. When Monique had her big moment, Oprah chose to bring on that and make that the primary discussion. It just doesn't make sense. One person on Twitter agreed with me saying like, it looks bad for Oprah. And I agree. Somebody else said that Oprah definitely seems like she has a mean, cold side. I just wonder why she was so mean to Monique. And Monique herself said like Oprah crossed her on so many different levels. And it's very blatant, to me at least. Yeah. She said she reached out to Oprah, but her efforts to communicate didn't really happen. It took 3 years after that interview when she confronted Oprah at a celebration for Lupita Nyong'o, being like, hey, I need to talk to you. And when Monique said that, the entire party went quiet. You could hear a pin drop because everybody was kind of like, oh boy, what's gonna happen? Monique said, since you didn't want to return my calls for whatever reason, I'm gonna say this right here. She asked Oprah, like, why did you invite my family on the show at that time when I was not talking to my family? And Oprah was like, oh, like, I didn't know the whole family was gonna show up. She literally said, I didn't know anything about that. If I did anything to offend you, I apologize. You're telling me the woman who created a media empire and micromanages everything didn't know? Sure. Okay, Pinocchio. Rose McGowan has called Oprah as fake as they come in a lot of scathing internet posts. Why? Well, Oprah's had friendships with scummy people. I can't name them, I can't talk about them, we can't show them, but like, You know who I'm talking about. Rose took to Twitter to speak out against the popular talk show host, sharing a photo of Oprah kissing a very disgraced person in Hollywood on the cheek. This was a photo taken in 2014, so it's not like a super old photo. It's recent enough that the rumors were swirling about the person that I can't talk about, that we can't show. I'm sorry, folks. McGowan is a Me Too activist, and she captioned the photo that she posted saying, "I'm glad more are seeing the ugly truth of Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't. From being pals with scummy people to abandoning and destroying victims, she is about supporting a sick power structure for personal gain. She is as fake as they come. #lizard." In a recent episode of the Stephen A. Smith Show, he was reacting to the results of the US presidential election, and he called out celebrity figures like Oprah for alienating everyday people by trying to guilt them into voting for a certain candidate. He said, and I quote, "In the end, celebrities who are worth hundreds of millions, if not billions, who most American citizens feel are incredibly detached from their way of life and their quality of life, we're not going to get away and guilt them into doing something different than what their experience says is going on and what they should do about it." After playing a clip of Oprah imploring an audience to vote while warning them it could be their last chance to vote should a certain candidate win, Smith ripped the daytime talk legend apart for trying to scold or scare Americans into political action. He said, "This is the kind of stuff that alienates an electorate, alienates a voter, because the freedom that you tell them you have, you try to confiscate morally by letting them know, you ain't worth a damn unless you vote the way we say you should vote. Who's going to go for that in a general election? With an economy rife with inflation, with over 12 million people crossing all the time, the value of their dollars dissipating before their very eyes." He went on and on and on. And also, I'm just gonna say, he was consistent throughout the campaign that celebrity endorsements are useless on both sides. Like, he's laughed off former NFL quarterback Brett Favre for coming out in favor of the candidate that won. And like, look folks, we all remember the Believe video. Out of touch celebrities, yeah, out of touch. Toni Braxton took aim at Oprah in a TV expose, alleging the TV titan was mean to her during a 1998 interview about the singer's financial problems. So she insisted that the TV chat severely damaged her reputation after Oprah made some choice remarks about Toni's overspending, which led Braxton to declare bankruptcy. So this was a taped interview with VH1 for a Behind the Music special, and the singer said, "She was so freaking mean to me. I was in shock. She said, 'I hear you have Gucci flatware. I'm Oprah Winfrey and I don't have Gucci flatware.' And she was like, 'Well, you don't have Gucci flatware because you didn't want to buy it, not because you can't afford it.'" You might think otherwise, but people don't usually feud with Oprah, at least not publicly, which is why it was really jarring to see Taraji P. Henson speak out about the disrespect she faced on the set of The Color Purple, a film where Oprah was an executive producer and had a big role in, like, everything. Henson's comments sparked immediate rumblings of a feud between the two women, as well as a necessary conversation about the way Black women in Hollywood are constantly disrespected and underpaid. And while Oprah has claimed that there was no hatred between the two women, there was definitely some kind of mess. Back in December of last year, Taraji told The Hollywood Reporter that she was fed up with the industry. She was sick of being underpaid. She was fighting tooth and nail every project to get that same freaking quote. And later that month, Gayle King, Oprah's bestie, asked her about her saying that she wanted to retire from acting. And the star got teary, saying she was just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what she does, and getting paid a fraction of the cost.
Oprah Winfrey spends millions covering up secrets and scandals. It's time the public finds out the truth. Oprah allegedly spent a very pretty shiny penny to make sure the docuseries that was created about her never sees the light or dark of day. In 2021, Apple TV announced that Oscar-winning director Kevin McDonald would make a documentary about Winfrey's life, but after arguing with him over the project's final product, a spokesperson for Oprah said that Oprah actually bought back the rights to her docuseries and has since decided to put the doc on hold. In addition, another source said Kevin made the film but Oprah didn't like it and he refused to change it, and Oprah has paid back her fee to Apple. Her previous work with them included her show The Oprah Conversations and the mental health special The Me You Can't See in collaboration with Prince Harry. She also hosted Oprah's book club on Apple's books as well. Now, many people have been led to speculate that that there's more to this story, and maybe, just maybe, Oprah doesn't want some information getting out that could absolutely destroy her. One social media user online posed the question, if you are a billionaire, would you not also pay to have some secrets kept secrets? With another person saying, what is she afraid of hiding? One person just flat out came out and said, what are you hiding at Oprah? And another user wondered if a change in focus led to the decision, saying, was she promised a sugary overview but got an actual objective observatory documentary in which she didn't like what she saw? I thought every skeleton was out of the closet, so what's the hide, Oprah? Now get this, this isn't actually the first time Oprah has canceled projects she commissioned or approved about herself. Back in the early 90s, she pulled back an autobiography that was ready to be published, but why? And considering Oprah had been paid $3 million in advance, you'd think it was a done deal, but nope, she gave it all back just 3 months before it was set to be published. It gets weirder though. She also had a book she planned for 2017 called The Life You Want, but yes, you guessed it, she yet again pulled it, and we have never seen it or read it, should I say. Oprah likes to keep her private life private, as do many celebrities, so that's not really shocking, and people who work for her are privy to details of the mega mogul's life that the general public would never know. Now, to keep her closest secrets confidential, Oprah has one of the best publicity and legal teams in the business. Not surprising, and while most NDAs are for a limited time, her staff actually must sign lifetime agreements. These are airtight NDAs that she gives out like candy. Now, in 2000, Oprah defended the restrictive gag order for employees, saying, I have to function in an environment where I feel I could trust my employees. The NDAs were not meant to be a way to keep just secrets off her shows, safe, but also basically all of her secrets to her life as well. And according to sources, these NDA documents were signed by almost everyone in her life. Now, in 2010, Unicus Performance Training, well, two fitness trainers in particular there, filed a lawsuit against Oprah Winfrey's Harpo Studios after they allegedly were hired to create a customized fitness program for Harpo employees and were never actually paid. So Dina Castillo and Frank Nunes, a married couple that owns Unicus Fitness, were hired to create the O Fitness Challenge in June of 2008. Now, the program was to become a segment on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and Harpo representatives allegedly asked the couple to appear on an Oprah Radio XM program hosted by Winfrey's former personal trainer Bob Greene. Now, the couple, excited about their scheduled radio appearance, sent a mass email out to their clients asking them to listen to the show. And, according to the suit filed in Cook County Circuit Court, it was reported that soon after, Harpo officials told the couple that the mass email violated a confidentiality agreement with the talk show's parent company, which terminated their O Fitness Challenge program. Now, despite the fact that the couple had already appeared on Green's show on March 16, 2009, Harpo accused them of a gross and egregious confidentiality violation. The suit claims Unicus had already spent a lot of time working with Harpo employees and estimated they provided $100,000 to $130,000 in services. They invoiced Harpo for $63,620.50, but were told they would not be paid since they violated the agreement and that their services were voluntary. Ouch. Oprah has been called out for using weight loss medication, despite being a longtime ambassador for Weight Watchers, and you may or may not have been born after the fact, but you don't need to have seen Oprah's infamous Fat Wagon segment at the time it aired in 1986 to have felt its repercussions. Regardless of when you were born, you certainly should know this one. The moment wherein the talk show host proudly wheeled out a wagon full of raw butchered animal parts, like wrapped up in plastic, like they came straight from a butcher's or a psychopath's lair. It was meant to be a visual representation of the weight she'd recently lost from a liquids-only diet. It's one of the most over-the-top examples in a list of ways that Oprah, throughout her decades-long career, has promoted dangerous and unrealistic weight loss and dieting methods that she admits were harmful. Well, now she has come under fire from a number of fans after admitting to using weight loss aids. This revelation comes a matter of months after Oprah previously slammed the use of the weight loss Ozempic. Oprah has been talking about weight loss and weight loss methods for decades now, and it's always conflicting. One moment she's pro this, the next minute she's pro that. I think people are just fed up and don't want to hear her talk about it anymore, like, good for you for getting your health under control, however that works for you. At this point, if you like it, we love it. Lastly, I want to touch on the Oprah and Monique incident. Back in March 2010, Monique won the Best Supporting Actress Academy Award for her performance in the movie Precious. The controversy started when Monique claimed that Oprah blackballed her in the entertainment industry after Monique's appearance on Oprah's show. Monique stated that Oprah had been upset with her for not attending a party at Oprah's home and for not supporting Oprah's friend Tyler Perry. Monique also claimed that Oprah had pressured her to apologize to Tyler Perry for comments she had made about him, and that Oprah had threatened to ruin her career if she didn't comply. Monique refused to apologize and stated that she felt Oprah was being unfair and controlling. Now, Oprah responded to Monique's claims, stating that she had not blackballed her and that their friendship had simply just fizzled out. Oprah also denied pressuring Monique to apologize to Tyler Perry. The feud escalated, with both women making public comments about each other, and Monique claimed that Oprah was using her power to destroy her career, while Oprah accused Monique of being ungrateful and disloyal. The situation ultimately led to a rift between the two women, and in retaliation, Oprah even had Monique's older brother, Gerald, on her show. It's been reported that Gerald harmed Monique growing up, and it was also reported that being on Oprah's show was the first time he actually admitted to his crimes. One person on X said, Oprah needs to answer for this, because interviewing Monique's brother after her historic Oscar win, this doesn't make sense. Plus, it's starting to look bad on for Oprah. Now, another person added, Oprah definitely seems like she's a mean, cold-spirited side to her. I just wonder why she was so mean to Monique. Like Mo said, Oprah crossed her on many different levels. And you know what? Even all till now, Oprah hasn't discussed the situation, and she actually stands on her claims that she meant nothing bad by having Monique's brother on her show. But you know, with the timing and drama between the two, it sure seems to me like it was definitely a jab at Monique.
You're cordially invited to celebrate the birth of Sean Puffy-Coat.
Oprah Winfrey has been tied to so many awful people, and the things that she's done throughout the years have only been in service to certain people.
Is it true that they paid you $1 million for the endorsement?
Not true.
Not true, okay.
That was a crazy one. What am I doing?
I have different personalities, you know what I'm saying? Nobody knows who's coming downstairs in the morning.
Oprah Winfrey is arguably one of the most well-known people in Hollywood, from building her own empire with her talk show and production company, but she has a tie to one of the most evil men out there right now, Diddy. Now, Oprah and Diddy are actually friends, as they've been spotted together plenty of times. They've attended charity events, been spotted at award shows, at Diddy's infamous parties, and Oprah even had him as a guest on her talk show back in the day. But when he was a guest, it was just, well, weird. As you may know, Diddy has gone by many different names. His legal name is Sean Combs. He then changed his middle name to Love at one point. He's gone by Puff Daddy, Puffy, P. Diddy, and Diddy. Why all these names? It's honestly so confusing, but it seems like Diddy will never share why they change. In 1996, under the name Puff Daddy, he released his first commercial vocal work as a rapper. He then changed his stage name from Puff Daddy to P. Diddy in 2001. On August 16th, 2005, he announced on Today that he was altering his stage name yet again and would be calling himself Diddy. He then changed his name once again on November 5th, 2017, when he announced he'd be going by the name Love, stating, "My new name is Love, aka Brother Love." 2 days later, he told the press that he was joking, but then on January 3rd, 2018, he announced on Jimmy Kimmel Live that he had changed his mind again and will be using the new name after all. Now, the change became official in 2022, but personally, I just call him Diddy because all of this is just confusing, and not only for me, as many other people have been confused by what to call him, and even why he's had all these different names that constantly change. Now, in 2006, while making an appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show, Oprah tried to get to the bottom of Diddy's stage names, why he changed them, and even what they meant. Diddy, though, was not going to give up that information that easily. He He said, "It's a nickname somebody gave me. I've never told anyone that. I know you get people to tell you everything, Oprah, but I can't look you in the eye and explain that one." He then shoved the question aside and said it's just a silly name. It was then made clear that he didn't want to share the deeper meaning and the significance of his stage name, and what's strange is that Oprah did not probe him anymore and just accepted that she wouldn't get an answer. Diddy then said, "I'll answer every other question except that one," which is just so weird. And why did Oprah just accept that? She's known for questioning and pushing her guests, but she just accepted this. Now, does she know something we don't? I mean, it's just strange overall. Now, in his other interviews, Diddy opened up about his many nicknames. As well, speaking with CNN, he shared, "I've had different name changes because I only just grew up in a neighborhood where everybody had nicknames. My nickname was Puffy," and he said he was given the nickname Puff as a child because he would huff and puff when he was angry. But it seems like that's all the information we'll get. I don't know why he's making such a big deal of it though, and it honestly just makes him even more suspicious. I mean, does Oprah know the true meaning of this? Regardless, it's just weird behavior. Recently, leaked footage shows Oprah and many other star-studded celebrities inviting people to Diddy's 29th birthday party. Now, among Oprah is Chris Rock, Ellen DeGeneres, Ben Stiller, Stephen Baldwin, and Will Smith. With this video being leaked, a lot more celebrities are being accused of being involved in Diddy's crimes. One person commented on the video, "It's crazy, anyone I see here is a suspect to me," which I gotta say, I agree with. Now, another person commented, "I think it's foul that not one person was staying away from him then and supposedly they knew. No one was saying a word. Didn't he have some kind of big 4th of July party that anyone who was anyone would be at every year? Those people should be just as guilty accomplices." Now, only a minute or so of this footage was released, but it said that the whole invite is 6 minutes long. Now, what happened with the rest of the footage though? Maybe it exposes sensitive information that would make Diddy and other celebrities look bad. Regardless, it's just very strange again, and the fact that Oprah was a part of this is a pretty big red flag. Attorney Toni Busby, who is representing over 120 alleged victims of Diddy's controversial freak-off parties, has finally begun sending demand letters to A-list celebrities who attended these events. Now, the letters have actually urged all the stars to settle out of court or face potential lawsuits, even if they did not engage in any kind of illegal activities. Toni has put forward an argument that their silence and inaction during the events makes them complicit, while stating that those who witnessed wrongdoing but did not intervene share the same level of liability as the perpetrators. Now, in a recent appearance on TMZ, Toni emphasized on the fact that the demand letters are a standard practice to outline the situation and encourage dialogue, but at the same time, he is fully prepared to escalate to lawsuits if that becomes necessary. He also noted that many celebrities are scrubbing their social media accounts to distance themselves from Sean Diddy Combs amidst the ongoing scandal. Then there's also Oprah's cancel documentary. Now, Oprah apparently spent a fortune to make sure her docuseries created about her never sees the light of day after clashing with Oscar-winning filmmaker and director Kevin McDonald over the project. As the Apple TV Plus deal was coming to an end, Miss Winfrey bought back the rights to her docuseries and has since decided to put the doc on hold, a spokesperson for Oprah told Page 6. In addition, another source said Kevin made the film, but Oprah didn't like it and he refused to change it, and Oprah has paid back her fee to Apple. Now, internet users reacted to the news that the documentary was being put on hold, and they were not impressed. Many questioned if Oprah was worried some damaging information was set to become public. Well, now isn't this sketchy? One person wrote in Page 6's comment section. Now, another individual asked, what is she afraid of or hiding? Now, similar takes showed up on Twitter, as one person wrote, "What is Oprah hiding?" while another tweeted, "Oprah Winfrey shelled out a fortune to prevent a documentary release. Sounds legit money talks, right? Not the truth." And yeah, I gotta say that that is pretty sketchy sounding. Now, it seems like Oprah has a pattern of being friends with some rich and powerful and problematic men, as this is not the first time people have noticed her choice in questionable friends. And with Oprah being as powerful as she is, people have started to question whether she's been directly involved in some of the crimes that have been happening in Hollywood. In 2020, rumors were going around that Oprah's house had been raided and she had been arrested in connection to many crimes. In a tweet though, she responded and said, "Just got a phone call that my name is trending and being trolled for some awful fake thing. It's not true. Haven't been raided or arrested. Just sanitizing and self-distancing with the rest of the world. Stay safe, everybody." Selma director Ava DuVernay also defended Oprah, posting, "Trolls and bots began this disgusting rumor. Mean-spirited minds keep it going. Oprah has worked for decades on behalf of others, given hundreds of millions to individuals and causes in need, shared her own mistreatment as a child to help folks heal. Shame on all who participated in this." But then again, this year, those rumors have arisen again. And who knows, maybe there's some truth to them this time. People have finally been noticing some of the sketchy stuff that's come out about Oprah, and maybe her downfall is upon us, especially considering her connection to Diddy.
If you thought you knew Oprah, think again. Some of her darkest secrets were revealed, and the truth will shock you. Oprah has been the center of conversations for years around shady business deals, her true intentions when it comes to fame, power, and controversies about her weight loss practices, relationships with other celebrities, and even her stance on Scientology. She's no stranger to the limelight, and when it comes to secrets, she has far too many, so let's talk about it. I will admit she has quite a story. Her life's journey, while questionable, is still a testament to resilience and determination. Oprah's childhood for the longest time was kept under wraps. She honestly thought that if secrets from her upbringing came to light, that people wouldn't like or respect her and it would ruin her image. Essentially, and maybe rightfully so, she assumed the media would eat it up and spin her story to highlight only the negative. Her childhood was marked by unimaginable trauma. Aside from her father being absent, her teenage mother also left her to be raised by her grandmother, who, by the way, was not very nice to her. She would physically and verbally attack Oprah, and one time on the Dr. Oz show, Oprah discussed some horrifying memories she has growing up and the pain she endured. But despite all of that, Oprah said her grandmother at the end of the day did the best she could. She actually told Dr. Oz she doesn't have that same pain today, but suffered many years with PTSD, depression, and anxiety. And at the time, as a kid, she just thought that all of it was normal and said, and I quote, "I knew that children were to be seen and not heard." Oprah said it wasn't until 1988 when she was watching a program on TV that discussed the body's reaction to trauma, where it clicked to her that she's having so many sleepless nights because she was so neglected as a kid and left alone for so many hours of the day and night that it instilled a fear in her that would take years to release. Oprah's biggest bombshell secret that came out that she absolutely did not want anyone to know about is that she actually carried and gave birth to a baby boy at the age of 14. Sadly, the baby passed away shortly after birth due to complications.
When I was 14 years old, I became pregnant, hid the pregnancy until the baby was born.
But this moment had like a very profound impact on Oprah's life and emotional well-being. She even told Dr. Oz that her father, who slightly re-entered her life at that point, said to her, "This is your second chance now to make something of yourself." Those words stuck with Oprah, and she recalled thinking, "Now that I know better, I can do better." And it would seem as though she carried that sentiment for the next few decades. But does she still practice that now? It seems those words to live by have gotten lost recently when it comes to her choices. And despite Oprah wanting to keep all of those secrets from the public, she would actually face a public battle in 2011. Oprah's very public battle with depression and anxiety back in 2011 was a significant moment in her career. After 25 years of hosting her iconic talk show, she announced that she would be ending the show to focus on herself. The real secret she didn't want you to know is that ratings had dropped drastically. The show was not doing nearly as well as it used to, and the pressure of maintaining it took such a mental toll on her. Now, despite being scared of becoming irrelevant and canceling her hit show that had gone on for decades, Oprah would then go forward with launching her own network named OWN. which I think it just dawned on me that it stands for the Oprah Winfrey Network. Am I the only one who's late here? Don't laugh at me. Now, this network would go on to become super successful and is to this day still on the air. Another big secret Oprah tried to keep from the public from knowing is her personal struggles with weight. Yes, she has been pretty open about her lifelong struggle with weight and body image, but has she always been truthful? That is the better question, because going back to as early as 1997, Oprah faced criticism for promoting fat-burning pills on her show, which some experts argued were ineffective and potentially harmful. Fast forward to 2005, Oprah again faced backlash for endorsing Jenny Craig's weight loss program, with some critics arguing that the program promotes unhealthy eating habits and unrealistic weight loss goals. 2 years later, in 2007, she faced criticism again for promoting quick fix diets and weight loss solutions on her show, which some experts argued were simply unsustainable and unhealthy. And if all of that wasn't enough, she faced extreme criticism in 2011 for hosting a weight loss competition on her show, which critics argued it promoted unhealthy competition and body shaming. And honestly, I just feel like with that one, girl, you should have known better. Like, she has gone on and on about how often she's been body shamed. It's like the bullied became the bully. I honestly don't know in what world she thought that was a good idea. I'm not done though, because in 2015, we have the Weight Watchers controversy. Oprah literally became a spokesperson for Weight Watchers, promoting their program and even investing in the company. However, some critics accused her of actually promoting restrictive dieting and unrealistic weight loss expectations. Now, in very recent times, Oprah has opened up and admitted to using weight loss medication as a quote-unquote maintenance tool to manage her weight. She revealed in an interview with People that she uses the medication in conjunction with exercise, drinking a gallon of water a day, and eating all meals by 4 p.m., which could also just be intermittent fasting if we're being honest here. But she said she had a turning point where she realized she has been blaming herself for being overweight despite having a predisposition that made it difficult to control her weight. After consulting her doctor, she was prescribed the medication that she now uses to maintain a healthy weight.
I took on the shame for 25 years, making fun of my weight.
And while she didn't actually disclose the specific medication she's taking, many fans have speculated that it's the ever-famous, ever-trending celebrity quick fix medication that starts with an O and ends with pick. Please don't make me sing the jingle. Knowing she has ties to Weight Watchers still, it's safe to say she likely can't really discuss too much about what she's talking about, but like, with all the half-truths we have gotten from her lately, would we believe her anyway? Please allow me just another minute of your time, because I almost forgot to talk about the lawsuit back in 1997 that Oprah faced. This one, although public knowledge, feels like a big dirty secret because, well, if you're like me, this is the first time you've heard of it. So back in April of 97, during an episode on her show titled Dangerous Food, Oprah made comments on mad cow disease while discussing the risks of mad cow disease transmission through contaminated beef. Her comment was, and I quote, "It has just stopped me cold from eating another burger." The segment was widely viewed as contributing to a drop in cattle prices, and cattlemen in Texas sued Oprah for defamation in the amount of a whopping $10.3 million. The cattlemen claimed that the show's negative portrayal of their business caused a steep decline in beef prices. Winfrey won the case, but the cattlemen appealed the verdict. The U.S. Court of Appeals in New Orleans ruled that Winfrey did not knowingly and falsely depict American beef as unsafe. Oprah, once acquitted, said in a post-verdict interview, "Free speech not only lives, it rocks." That's how she said it. That's it for today, but let me know your thoughts. Do you think Oprah has more skeletons in the closet that need to come out, or are you team put it to rest?
Have you ever felt this way before?
My reaction is that free speech not only lives, it rocks.
Were you silent or were you silenced?
Oprah this way!
Right here. I got it.
I couldn't have gotten through this. This has been a very difficult and stressful time.
Oprah. We love you, Oprah. We love you, Oprah.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, Oprah, you've told so many fibs over the years. How can we keep track? So most recently, Oprah Winfrey has been called out for using weight loss medication, despite being a long-time ambassador for Weight Watchers. Seriously, the two are synonymous. The famous talk show host has confirmed she uses an unnamed thing to help her control her weight. In a revealing chat, she said her new slim figure is thanks to the medication and obviously a healthier lifestyle overall. She said, I now use it as I feel I need it, as a tool to manage not yo-yoing. She said the fact that there's a medically approved prescription for managing weight in my lifetime feels like a relief, like redemption, like a gift, not something to hide behind and once again be ridiculed for. She also said, I'm absolutely done with the shaming from other people and particularly myself. Which is fair, she's been shamed many times over the years, most notably Joan Rivers way back when. Granted, there's a lot of fans that feel like the billionaire philanthropist is being hypocritical. Once again, given that she's kind of been a spokesgirl for Weight Watchers for, I don't know, as long as I can remember. One person wrote, what I don't like about Oprah is she is clearly off doing Ozempic, but she's still pushing Weight Watchers. So other folks have added like, done with the shaming but okay with lying. And for the longest time, Oprah was like, oh, I let people think I just did it the old-fashioned way. And they want to know why she lied. Well, I'll tell you why. Ka-ching, ka-ching. I do get it. Body issues are a thing. I struggle with them myself, but like, don't lie about it. Back in 2012, Oprah gushed for weeks about Microsoft's Surface tablet, which she compared to a Mercedes, and she named one of her favorite things of 2012. If you know Oprah, her favorite things of the year, it's a huge deal. One day she went a step further. She sent out a Twitter message to her, I think like 14.8 million followers at the time, saying, love that Surface, and added that she'd already bought 12 of them for Christmas gifts. But there was one teeny tiny little proofreading problem here. Well, not proofreading, but you'll get what I mean. Oprah, or whoever managed her Twitter account at the time, sent that tweet from an iPad. So the people of the internet, who never miss the opportunity to poke fun at an online mess up, took notice. To quote one expert, she does have legions of fans, making her an effective marketing channel for Microsoft. Except when the narrative around her promotion is tossed on its head by a foolish and utterly avoidable mistake. Surface ads, not brought to you by iPad. Now sure, she might have had an iPad and a Surface at the same time. She did name the iPad one of her favorite things of years prior, but like, girl. And I get it, there was not a Twitter app for Surface at the time, but still. Alright, so the legend of Oprah Winfrey as an extremely poor person, growing up without a father, a too young mother who, as Oprah claimed, carried with shame during pregnancy and then neglected her, kinda spread when Oprah began giving interviews in Chicago, claiming, oh how they harmed me. I wanted to be white because I never saw white people being hurt. She claimed her early years were lonely. She didn't play with anybody except the pig she rode without a saddle in her grandmother's garden. She said the only thing I could talk to was the animals in the farmyard. She claimed she read them Bible stories. Apparently the years spent with a mother on welfare were even worse. She said we were so poor we couldn't afford a dog or a cat, so I had 2 cockroaches as pets. I put them in a jar, named them Melinda and Sandy. She very much entertained her audiences with these stories. She talked about fetching water from the well. She talked about milking cows, emptying the drinking pot. This was a fairy tale about growing up that she weaved and told. She told stories about her grandmother who swung a switch, a grandfather with a stick. These were the people who raised her for the earliest years of her life. She said, oh how they hurt me. Once again, she wanted to be white. She never saw white people being harmed. She said this over and over again, which is why I repeated it. She said that, an integral part of Southern tradition for her family, the way the old folks raised people was, you get a switch. You spill something, you know what happens. You tell a story, game over. And grandma could do that to her all day and never get tired. Now, not everybody in Oprah's family has agreed with this narrative. Her mother, Vernita Lee, when asked about her daughter's penchant for self-dramatization, said, Oprah's a bit of a cold smoker. If you don't know what that means, telling tall tales. Oprah's sister later dispelled the myth of immense poverty. She said, sure, we weren't rich, but Oprah exaggerated how bad it was for us. I guess the viewers would love her and the audience would grow. She didn't have cockroaches for a pet. She always had a dog, she had a white cat, she had an eel in a tank, a parakeet named Bo Peep. She went on and on. She said, her cousin, Catherine, said, where Oprah got that nonsense about growing up in filth and roaches, I have no idea. Catherine claimed that she even confronted Oprah, asking, why do you tell such lies? And Oprah said, that's what people want to hear. The truth is boring. And people did. They ate it up for years. Until there was a certain book that came out and everybody was like, oh, it's a fib. So back in March of 2010, Monique won the Best Supporting Actress Academy Award for her performance in Precious. But after that, her career kind of didn't really happen, didn't really take off. And she's opened up about what she claimed is her being blackballed in the entertainment industry. And she claims that it came at the hands of media moguls such as Oprah Winfrey. Now, you gotta remember, Oprah is the talk show host who had an interview with Monique's family just days after the big career accomplishment. She sat down with Monique's older brother, Gerald, who had sadly harmed Monique growing up. Allegedly, this was the first time he had admitted his crimes. He confessed to being a victim of the same actions by other family members. But folks, that didn't sit well with anybody. A lot of people online said that Oprah needed to answer for this because interviewing Monique's brother after her historic Oscar win doesn't make sense. It looked bad for Oprah. And people started to pick up on the fact that Oprah definitely seemed to have a mean cold sign. They wanted to know why she was so mean to Monique, why she was hurting her in this way. And Monique said it herself. Oprah crossed her on many different levels. She tried to reach out to Oprah, but her efforts to communicate didn't really go anywhere. So 3 years after that interview, Monique confronted Oprah at a celebration party for Lupita Nyong'o when Lupita got the Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. So Monique described it as, Oprah was sitting on my right and I turned to her and said, now I need to talk to you. And at that event, apparently when that went down, you could hear a pin drop. So Monique said, and I quote, since you didn't want to return my calls for whatever reason, I'm going to say this right here. She asked, point blank, Oprah, why did you invite my family on the show? Because Monique wasn't really talking to her family at the time. And then Oprah tried to play it off. She said she had no idea the entire family was going to show up. She said, I didn't know anything about that. And then she added, and this is my favorite quote of all, folks, if I've done anything to offend you, I apologize. Which is such a non-statement. It's like, oh, I know I offended you. But if I did anything to hurt you, yes, you did. Just say you're sorry. So Oprah paid a fortune to Apple TV Plus chiefs to buy back the rights to a documentary about her life. So Apple announced with great fanfare in 2021 that Oscar-winning filmmaker Kevin McDonald would be directing a documentary about the talk show host turned media mogul turned billionaire that we all know and love or hate. However, sources say that McDonald, who teamed up with Oprah's longtime producer Lisa Esmeralda on the project, had clashed with the billionaire after he finished the film. And, unless I'm mistaken, it's been on ice ever since. So, and I quote, Kevin made the film, Oprah didn't like it, he refused to change it, and then Oprah paid her money back to Apple. This is according to a Hollywood source that is anonymous but apparently knows all. Somebody in the know says it wasn't in the 7 figures. Now, we gotta say, Oprah's documentary isn't the first high-profile one to be put on ice. Netflix's Years in the Making Prince documentary is being held hostage due to objections from the Grammy winner's estate. And I don't know. I think because he's already passed on, I think we can keep that one on ice. I don't think it's necessary.
The smoking report titled The Man Who Conned Oprah. I want to know where they write.
Most of what they wrote was pretty accurate.
I realize you've known her 20 years. She's actually sort of how you got into this side of the business, right?
That's the way in. If you're going to get in, go with the big O.
So I had called him up and personally apologized to him. I never imagined doing it on television or didn't want to make a big display about it because it wasn't about, now let me apologize.
Oprah Winfrey's cancellation has been a long time coming. From mistreating guests to promoting frauds, here's our list of Oprah warning signs we all chose to ignore. Starting off, we have the fact that many celebrity guests have spoken out about how they were mistreated by Oprah. Oprah interviewed actress Monique's brother, Gerald, who mistreated her growing up. Monique, in a since-deleted Periscope video, claimed she gave Oprah her blessing to conduct the interview, but was shocked and horrified when Oprah had her and Gerald's parents in her show's audience for the piece. In May 2010, a source told Radar Online, Monique has decided to forgive Oprah and move on, although the interview hurt her to her heart. But she's still not forgiven her family, and unfortunately, the grudge can now go to the grave because her parents, Stephen and Alice, are getting older now. She feels that her parents have never fully accepted Gerald's role in what happened.
I would say, Oprah Winfrey, stop hiding behind what you call was negative comments, because what people are beginning to do is see you for who you are.
But later in 2015, Monique claimed powerful people had blackballed her in Hollywood and hinted that Oprah was to blame. Thank you, Miss Oprah Winfrey, she said during a comedy performance. Now, another star who spoke out was Toni Braxton. She did an interview where she recalled being slammed in a 1998 sit-down with Oprah. She was so frickin' mean to me. I was in shock, she recounted in a taped statement for the music series Behind the Music. I couldn't believe it because I loved her so much. She pretty much reprimanded me. Now, as Toni Toni remembers it, Oprah's shaming of her didn't end there. "She made me feel this big," she added. When people are coming out and saying that they had a horrible experience on your show, that's a huge red flag. Now, if that's how celebrities felt, who knows how everyday people were treated. Then Oprah has also promoted and given a platform to fake doctors, including Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil. Oprah made Dr. Oz famous as she made him a regular guest, promoted his books, and endorsed his advice on her show. Now, she even gave him his own TV show through her production company. But it turns out that all he wanted to do was make a quick buck and not actually help people. In 2018, he settled a $5.25 million class action lawsuit related to his boostering of bunk diet pills without admitting fault. Now, according to another provider's review of a sample of Oz's episodes, about 78% of the doctor's statements didn't align with evidence-based medical guidelines. If Oprah didn't give him a platform, then he wouldn't have harmed people like this. Now, the same thing goes for Dr. Phil. He first came on the Oprah Winfrey Show in 1998 and soon began appearing in a regular Tuesday segment to offer relationship and life strategy advice. Now, in 2002, he launched his own syndicated daytime talk show, Dr. Phil, a spin-off of his segments on Oprah's show, which was produced by her Harpo Productions. Now, it turns out Dr. Phil is a phony. While he did once hold a therapist license, he doesn't have one now. He hasn't had one since 2006, and even then, it was in the state of Texas and not the state of California where his show is filmed. But according to Dr. Phil, he doesn't need one. "I retired my license, I don't need a license, I've chosen to pursue a different course and use of my education," he said. Now, his show has been full of lies and he's been seen taking advantage of and manipulating guests. It's just horrible that he has a platform, but again, these two men rose to fame because of being endorsed by Oprah. There's also the fact that Oprah has exploited some of her guests that she's had on her show. In 2004, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen were guests on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and Mary-Kate had been hounded by the press about her weight at this time, with intense media speculation that the star was suffering from an eating disorder. During the interview, Oprah says, "I know there's been a rumor that has recently surfaced that's really upset you." Now, Mary-Kate and Ashley were both clearly taken aback by the question, and a tense moment of silence followed by Oprah saying, "You know, the one about eating." Now, Mary-Kate was so thrown by the line of questioning, she looked almost on the verge of tears, and Ashley jumped in to rescue her. "Yeah, you know, people are going to write what they're going to write," they say. Now, after some awkward back and forth, Oprah asked the Olsen twins what dress size they are, and they reacted uncomfortably by saying, "I don't know." Now, it was obvious that the questions about their body was uncomfortable, but Oprah still pushed. When they said they weren't sure, Oprah hit back sarcastically saying, "Oh, you're not sure? That's so interesting." Later that same year that the Oprah interview aired, Mary-Kate checked into a rehab facility to seek treatment for a food-related health disorder. Now, Oprah should be ashamed of asking that, as it probably fueled Mary-Kate's problem, and it was honestly just so gross, and Oprah has never apologized for it. Oprah has also been known to help frauds on her show. Now, it seems like she and her team didn't vet their guests as well as they should have, and that was evident when it came to Charlene Zimmerman in the year 2000. Now, turns out she was a fraud. She claimed to be passing away soon due to cancer, and she was arrested after authorities learned her illness was a fraud scheme. Now, she was charged with second-degree theft after accepting about $10,000 in gifts, including money, food, clothing, and vacations from charities who believed that she was going to pass away from liver cancer. Charity organizations started sending her help shortly after she appeared on Oprah during a 1998 segment about mothers with terminal cancer. At the time, an Oprah spokeswoman confirmed Charlene's appearance on the show, but offered no further comment. Now, investigators said the woman told her family, friends, and national TV audience that she was going to pass away from cancer, and she even shaved her own head and sliced her skin to simulate the effects of chemotherapy and surgery. Police began investigating the woman after donors began asking about her health. She had been terminal for 2 years, Police Chief Larry Phillips told the Post. People were concerned because she didn't look like she had this type of disease. days. Now, according to Larry, her husband did not know that his wife was faking her illness. She told him she had a terminal illness and it was her dying wish that she'd assumed to handle parts of it privately, Larry said. She told him he didn't have to take off work while she went for chemo, and when he'd come home that night, she'd look and act as if she had chemotherapy treatment. Yikes, this is just not a good look for Oprah or her show. Then there was the book club controversy. Now, if you don't know, Oprah had a book club and she added James Frey's book, A Million Little Pieces, to the reading list. In October 2005, James appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show to promote his book, which the talk show host had previously said she couldn't put down, calling it a gut-wrenching memoir that is raw and it's so real. Now, when James was promoting this book on talk shows or other media outlets, it was referred to as a memoir. But large parts of the stories were later found to be exaggerated or fabricated, sparking a media controversy. Now, this was discovered after an investigation conducted by the Smoking Gun. They determined that James had actually fictionalized some of the story. So he was caught lying, and the fact that Oprah promoted it again was not a good look. Controversy arose after Oprah initially defended the book, but she later confronted James on her show in January 2006. She began the live program by telling him, "It's difficult for me to talk to you because I feel really duped. But most importantly, I feel that you betrayed millions of readers." Now, James admitted to Oprah that he had altered and embellished details of his story, including the fact that he had been in jail for just several hours, not 87 days, as stated in his book. Now, Oprah also confronted the publisher of A Million Little Pieces, saying her staff had been contacted about possible inaccuracies in the book, only to be told that the publishing company stood by James's story as a work of nonfiction. During the show, the publisher acknowledged that A Million Little Pieces had not been fact-checked. I mean, at least Oprah did her research about the book afterwards, but her helping spread misinformation is truly dangerous, and she hasn't taken a lot of accountability. Well, that's all for our list of Oprah Winfrey warning signs we all chose to ignore.
So freaking mean to me. You're so revealing. You just tell everything.
Because had Oprah Winfrey said, "I'm gonna have your mother," I would have said, "Shut it down."
Oprah wanted to exploit her for views. Monique wasn't having it. She said, "I'm not doing that."
Well, because I was trying to calmly leave and not cause a thing. No apologies necessary. I feel that a lot of things are on the line, a lot of things are at stake. So when I was making $22,000 a year, people always needed $50.
Over the years, a number of interviews have really shown us the cracks in Oprah's carefully curated facade. It is thanks to folks like Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, Howard Stern, Cindy Crawford, and so many more that we can really glimpse into the darkness behind the mogul. So Oprah came under fire back in 2021 for a 2004 interview on her show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, where she asked Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, who were the height of teeny bopper fashion, what clothing size they were. Now, at the time of the interview, rumors had been circulating that Mary-Kate was suffering from an eating disorder. And later that year, the actress turned fashion designer did spend time in a rehab facility to receive treatment for a health-related issue. So Oprah said, "I know a new rumor that's recently surfaced that has you really upset, right? You know, the one about eating." And now Ashley quickly jumped in to protect her sister, saying, "Yeah, people are gonna write what they're gonna write. We try not to read the good or the bad because it just comes with the territory. Either you're too fat, too skinny, and people are just gonna write what they're..." And she was cut off by Oprah because Oprah wanted her little soundbite. Oprah was like, "Well, what size are you, by the way?" Now, you could very much see Mary-Kate and Ashley feel very uncomfortable, and Ashley tried deflecting, being like, size? Like, oh, we're both like petite. And then Oprah is not having it and being like, "Oh, that's so interesting," saying it like it's an inside joke with her in the audience. She's like, "I'm obsessed with size," and you're like, "I don't know." And thankfully at this point, like, poor Mary-Kate piped up and was like, "Well, I really don't know. Like, if we were obsessed with our size, it'd be like a different story." Honestly, watching that entire video just left me feeling so icky, because it's like, who cares what size they are? Let them be. You get a car, and you get criticized for a lavish lifestyle. Controversial radio host Howard Stern accused Oprah Winfrey of showing off her wealth on social media. So he said, "Oprah's not embarrassed by her wealth at all." I think this was like a recent radio show excerpt, and he added, "She loves showing it off. It's effing mind-blowing. When you follow her on Instagram, you see her estates, her gardens, the people who service her, and his co-host interjected, "Service her? her. She's not a car. And then Stern's like, well, she kind of is. She's got servants and like people cooking and it's effing wild. Look folks, according to my sources, Oprah's got a net worth of $2.5 billion, which is a combination of her talk show success, her TV shows, and her brand ambassadorship stuff. So like, she's made herself. Stern continued saying the famed talk show host knows how to be rich and likes to show it off, which is something I'm not comfortable with. He's like, I don't think that people should show off their wealth. Now his co-host once again interjected and disagreed, arguing that she's just giving a fans a peek inside her life using social media, which is what public figures do. He literally said, Oprah's just showing you her life. She's not showing off. And then Howard Stern fired back saying that Oprah's lacking self-awareness. Well, you gotta be a little self-aware and know that there are people struggling out there. You gotta think about people who don't have anything to eat. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, you gotta be a little aware of this. Like folks, why do we follow anybody on social media? Because we like them, we aspire to be them. You should be considerate, yes, of others, but like you can flaunt your life. So speaking of out of touch, Oprah Winfrey's normal people skills were called into question back in 2006 following a cooking segment on The Oprah Winfrey Show. So she had invited Anna Ginsburg onto the set after Anna scooped a colossal $1 million for winning a national culinary contest. Unfortunately, the dish that helped her earn the prize didn't seem to appeal to Oprah's taste. So Ginsburg was like, oh, do you like it? Like, I hope so. This was a chicken and spinach stuffing meal that she'd created. And although Oprah insisted that she did like it, her face told a very different story. And then the situation got even more awkward when Oprah was like, did we get salt and pepper? I think we needed salt and pepper. So after the offending clip went viral a couple years later, Oprah decided to issue a defense of her MasterChef smackdown on Oprah Daily, saying, here's the deal. This is what I was thinking. I always wanted anybody who came onto the show, no matter what they did, to have a good experience. And I also wanted to stay in my own truth while also allowing them to have a good experience. Because the truth for me was that I'm used to having salt and pepper on my chicken. That's just the truth. I don't know about you, but I don't think I'd be making a boo-boo face on live television if I just didn't like something that minuscule. When Oprah interviewed Cindy Crawford and Elite Model Management founder John Casablancas back in 1986, she had the model stand up so the audience could see her body. Now, reflecting on the encounter about like 37 years later, Cindy Crawford was like, I was just something to be seen and not heard. And when you look at it through today's eyes, Oprah's like, stand up and show me your body. Show us why you're worthy of being here. Now, in the moment, Cindy Crawford didn't recognize it. And watching it back, she was like, oh my gosh. That was so not okay, really, especially from Oprah. You don't know why? Don't worry, folks, we'll get into it in a minute. So when Robin Williams and Nathan Lane did a joint interview to promote The Birdcage back in 1996, Oprah brought up potential rumors about Nathan's sexuality since he played an openly queer character in the film. And at the time, he wasn't ready to discuss his sexuality publicly. So Robin quickly changed the topic by making a joke. Well, fast forward to 2023, and Nathan has mentioned that he doesn't think Oprah was trying to out him, but he did say to Robin beforehand that he wasn't prepared. He was very scared of going out there and talking to Oprah. He was not prepared to discuss being gay on national television. He wasn't ready. And then Robin was like, oh, it's all right. Don't worry about it. We don't have to talk about it. We won't talk about it. Well, obviously Oprah was like, let's do it. So apparently, according to Nathan, Robin swooped in, diverted Oprah, and went off on a tangent and protected him because he was a saint, and just went on and on to praise Robin, who I've never heard a bad thing about. Back in March of 2010, Monique won the Best Supporting Actress Academy Award for her performance in Precious. And then after that, everybody's like, okay, what did she do? Well, apparently she claimed she was blackballed in the entertainment industry at the hands of a lot of powerful people. One of them being Oprah Winfrey. So Oprah decided, so Monique won this Academy Award, right? And just a couple days later, Oprah decided to have Monique's family on the show, which sounds really great, right? Sounds cute, like, oh, supportive family. Not so much. Monique was not talking to her family at the time, especially not her older brother, who apparently harmed Monique when they were growing up. Now, this was the first time her brother had admitted his crimes and confessed to being a victim of the same actions by other family members, but that doesn't make it okay. Like, folks online were like, yo, Oprah needs to answer for this because it doesn't make sense and it looks bad for Oprah. Somebody else was like, Oprah definitely seems like she has a mean, cold side. Like, I just wonder why she was so mean in this situation. Monique herself said Oprah crossed her on many different levels by doing this. And like, she tried to reach out to have a private conversation, but her efforts to communicate with Oprah didn't happen. Well, fast forward, I think about 3 years, Monique and Oprah are at a celebration party for Lupita Nyong'o in honor of her Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. So Monique said, and I quote, Oprah Winfrey was sitting on my right, and then I turned to her and said, now I need to talk to you. And apparently it got real quiet. Could hear a pin drop. Monique said, since you didn't want to return my calls for whatever reason, I'm going to say this right here. She asked Oprah, like, why did you invite my family on the show, knowing that our relationship was pretty severed at the time? But Oprah, in true Oprah fashion, was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea the entire family was gonna show up. And she said, like, oh, I didn't know anything about that. If I did anything to offend you, I apologize. Sure, we're gonna pretend this wasn't a calculated move by the queen of daytime TV. Back in 2007, Oprah had actress Jenny McCarthy on her show to promote some stupid book she she wrote about her son's autism. Now, I never went to med school, but I do have Google, and according to CDC statistics, more than 3.5 million Americans have an autism spectrum disorder for which scientists have yet to identify a definite cause. But Jenny McCarthy announced very matter-of-factly that her son's autism was caused by vaccinations, specifically the MMR vaccine. Now, this had nearly eradicated measles, mumps, and rubella in the States at the time. And if you didn't already know that, it's probably because society at the time didn't have to worry about those diseases for decades. If you don't know, measles did not mess around in its glory days. It took the lives of thousands of people a year. The number of total cases had dropped to less than 200 annually until these two folks decided to discredit science. After that, there was a gradual spike in cases. Back in 2014, there was a record 23 outbreaks and over 600 cases. I don't know, maybe it was a coincidence. You take the information and make your own decision.
Celebrity demands are nothing new, as we've seen from our favorite diva Jennifer Lopez. But what if Oprah had a way of making them so subtle, almost hidden, that it never really clicked for us in the moment? I respect those who like to keep their personal lives, well, personal. There are some intimate things that people like to keep close to the heart. Like Michael Jackson, for example. To me, this was outrageous. Asking such a personal question of, has he ever been intimate with someone on live television? We can clearly see in the video as well, as soon as she asks that question, he becomes extremely uncomfortable by it, taking in a sharp breath from being caught off guard like that. Like most people, you'd see that reaction and you would move on from the topic. But not Oprah, apparently. She eggs him on saying, I just want to know, I want to know. Why? Why do you want to know about this man's personal life so badly? What really aggravates me about this is that throughout the beginning of the clip, you can see what she's hinting at, and then finally hits Michael with a blow by saying this sentence specifically as, I'm gonna ask you this, and it's embarrassing for me to ask you this, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. So you stopped yourself at the beginning, we can see the wheels turning in your head, and yet you proceeded to continue onwards with it. Michael was very respectful with the situation, saying that he was a gentleman, explaining that sure, he may be old-fashioned, but to him it's something that's kept private. After clearly avoiding the question multiple times, she says in this disappointing tone, so you're not gonna answer it. Do you usually ask all the celebrities who come onto your show about their personal lives like that? Continuing to go down this Oprah rabbit hole, I've noticed there have been patterns where it doesn't seem like Oprah appreciates being contradicted or isn't able to grab what she really wants out of people from their interviews. From watching these interviews thus far, she cleverly does this in a way where she doesn't outright say, no, you need to be saying this. But you can tell in her body language and in the tone of her voice that she is trying to persuade you somewhere else. I love That's So Raven growing up, and she had done an interview as well with Oprah. Raven clearly shows that she doesn't want anything to do with labels in terms of preference when it comes to dating and even identity when she claims herself as only American and not African American. Oprah then jokingly goes, oh girl, don't set up the Twitter on fire, then proceeds to go, stop the tape right now, as they're both laughing. No harm there, right? Is Oprah agreeing with her maybe? The interview takes a bit of a turn, however, as once again, Oprah is egging her on a little bit here going, you know you're gonna get a lot of flack by saying you're not African American. To which Raven reiterates she doesn't label herself as such. Watching Oprah's body language here is interesting, as she's constantly shifting around a little uncomfortably now that this topic is out there. It seems her interest has peaked. Her tone changes a little as well, not so much demanding her, but with a very stern tone she goes, so I want you to really say what you really mean by that. It's very subtle, but specifically with the emphasis on mean, made me revisit the interview from a different perspective. Raven says what she means, so I'm personally not understanding what Oprah here isn't understanding. This last story is a bit of a long one, but I promise you it's worth it. Those of you who are artist performers watching this right now, please raise your hand if you've ever been told the phrase, you'll be paid in exposure. Because I sure have, and exposure doesn't buy me eggs and milk at the grocery store. That's exactly what happened with this performer, Revolva, who's a multidisciplinary artist that specializes in hula hooping, circus acts, as well as her own writer and character performer. Revolva titles the story An Open Letter to Oprah. The Life You Want, Asked Me to Work for Free. The title alone already hooked me, as I was shocked to see that people who would be performing alongside the Oprah were getting absolutely nada from it. Revolva starts her letter by explaining the sheer excitement she was experiencing at how her life was about to change for the better. I've always wanted to hear, welcome Revolva, as I cartwheeled on stage. And the majority of us have experienced that sort of ambition when brought into a new performing opportunities that may boost your career. The woman was so ready to have her story told, to do the things she loved to do, and finally finally get paid for it. Then I tell you my story. The profundity of all my lingering student loan debt causing you to weep and then declare to America that I am your new BFF. Revolva goes on to explaining that she had been within this industry for 12 years, wanting to make even the slightest splash out there, wanting to break free from the toxic culture of performance industry and showcase herself from what feeds her soul. As Revolva was speaking with ecstasy and euphoria, the poor woman was immediately shot down as the conversation with Oprah's producer continued. They stated, okay, just to be clear, you'd be on the stage outside of the event. And just to be clear, Oprah will not be on that stage. Oh, and just to be clear, this isn't a paid gig. This feels like an entirely different set overall. If these local performers are going to be on a completely separate stage and Oprah is on the other one, who's going to be in the audience? Also, might I add, Revolva states that tickets for the show ranged from $99 to $999. You're one of the biggest influencers in the world, to which I'm sure you'd be having quite the audience turn up. Why aren't these performers getting paid? I don't watch Oprah, but I'm also well aware of the classic video of look under your chair for a gift or surprise. But I guess it's easier to do that in a smaller audience where giving out those gifts would be like buying a cup of coffee for you. Revolva even comments, featuring trailblazers who never have to dig through every compartment in their car for enough change to cross the Bay Bridge would be ringing up the local performers asking them to do their job for no pay. But hey, apparently she would receive a free ticket to the performance as well. Sorry, but an Oprah Winfrey ticket just doesn't cut out for apartment rent. Revolva would have understood the situation better if she was the one to call and ask about performing, but she wasn't. Oprah Winfrey's producer called her, thinking they would just bend over backwards for them. Everyone else was apparently getting paid though, high-end performers and all the tech and sound crew to make sure you look and sound good, right? I feel for this creator deeply as someone who used to fall prey into performing for free. However, Revolva stood her ground and actually stated she wanted some sort of pay before continuing. This was a prior agreement of having travel costs reimbursed, but that was it. And when Revolva took her right to ask for a proper payment, she was told that the acts were now fully booked and would be reached out in the future for any other opportunities. Revolva took this experience as a spiritual learning lesson, but was still proud of herself for sticking true to her art and values. Sometimes you really got to look into the hidden details of it when it comes to brain-flipping tactics that some people will do, especially when it comes to live television.
You're cordially invited to celebrate the birth of Sean Puffy.
They are saying that Oprah Winfrey and Diddy, they go way back. They are very close friends, and they are even saying that she has something to do with the Diddy parties.
You are cordially invited to celebrate the birth of P. Diddy. Sean P. Diddy Puff Pastry Cone.
My birthday, I'm happy. Thanks to y'all giving me this call. Thank you very much. I love y'all.
We love you more. Too. Can't wait to see you in a couple of days.
HR Puffin stuff. Sean P. Puff. Puffy food.
But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the frosted flakes because
Puff the Magic Dragon. Puff Daddy.
Puffy is currently facing some serious allegations that have tarnished the reputation that he built in the music industry. He once had this close-knit circle of celebrity friends, and now they're kind of distancing themselves in the wake of these serious allegations. Now, has anybody else seen the leaked VHS tape? It was probably, I believe, an invitation to Puffy's 29th birthday party back in 1998, when I was like, And it's raised some eyebrows. Known for his love of partying, Puff Daddy has never shied away from going out and about while hosting such events, although, some, if not all, of his current legal troubles kind of stem from those gatherings. But the VHS tape, it's a 6-minute long video that serves as a time capsule from the peak of the bad boy era, and as kind of a reminder of how far Puff Daddy has slipped from society amid everything going on. And yes, Oprah's in it. That's why we're talking about it today. So this tape was delivered to the hands of the most powerful and glamorous players in Los Angeles and New York in a black velvet pouch with the birthday gala, November 4th, 1998 written on it in white script. And like I said before, it's got Oprah, it's got Ellen DeGeneres, it's got Chris Rock, it's got Mariah Carey, it's got the next president, it's got Magic Johnson, Will Smith, Ben Stiller, Joan Rivers, Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Tommy Hilfiger, Ronald Perlman, Penny Marshall, Stephen Baldwin, and so many others, taking turns to hype up the bash, encouraging the recipients to RSVP and goof off for the camera. So it begins with a strange home video style skit where Danny DeVito is lying on a sofa under a blanket, saying, "That's right, Puff Daddy's having a party and this is Puff Daddy inviting you to come. Let's have a ball." Danny DeVito, are you okay? Let me know. Then the absolute cavalcade of A-listers take turns reading from a script. And yeah, it's a script, detailing the date and time, exactly how fabulous and expensive the affair is going to be, and then the address to RSVP to. And the venue, which by the way, it was the Cipriani Wall Street, would be revealed later. But now that it's been 20-something years, we know where it was. One person refers to the I'll Be Missing You rapper as the legendary Puff Daddy, and then we've got Rock and DeGeneres teasing him for his many names, because, you know, he's got them as long as my arm, and a lot of folks make fun of their own unease with hip-hop slang. One source who attended the bash said that they'd forgotten how much was made of the party in the press, and they really think that bigger celebs and moguls were fascinated by the chutzpah of this 29-year-old. Look, at the time the bash cost like $600,000, and 1,600 people were on the list for the invites, which is bonkers for a party? Eee! As well as those in the video, Henry Winkler, Aaron Lauder, Mike Tyson, Minnie Driver, Mark Wahlberg, Lenny Kravitz, Kevin Costner, Sarah Ferguson, Martha Stewart, Jay-Z, and Naomi Campbell were also on the scene. Folks have compared this to Truman Capote's black and white ball at the Plaza, and even though that party was like for la crème de la crème of society, Puff Daddy was celebrating the kind of high-profile commercial success and notoriety that knows no racial class or bounds. So folks are comparing it like old money versus new money. The Capote ball, old money. Puff Daddy ball, new money. So during an intimate discussion with Oprah, peeling away the layers of his complex life, Puffy kind of made folks curious by avoiding details about the origin of the Puff Daddy moniker. The conversation, which was for Oprah's O magazine, it was casual at the beginning. Like Oprah was like, how'd you get the name? And he said, it's a nickname somebody gave me. And then Oprah, being Oprah, was like, okay, well, I would to know more. And then he was like, no. He's like, I've never told anyone that. And I know you get people to tell you everything, Oprah, but I can't look you in the eye and explain that one. He said, no more Puff Daddy. First week in June, we're gonna have a name change ceremony. Now, he confessed that part to MTV back in 2001, and that's when he said, I'm rocking with the whole P, that name now. And that's when he said, Biggie gave him that name, which was after crimes committed by Puffy that I can't talk about on here without sounding like a cartoon character, but I'm sure you can find them. And I find it highly suspicious that Biggie gave him that name. If we're gonna go back to Oprah for a moment, her name? That's been interlaced with a lot of criminals. We're talking Harvey W., Puff Daddy, Jeffrey E. I can't say their last names. Harvey was a close friend of Oprah's for many years, and he used that friendship to gain the trust of his victims. Actress Katie Noble claimed that Harvey used Oprah into going back with him to his hotel room. However, once Harvey's crimes became public knowledge, Oprah distanced herself from the situation without directly addressing her relationship with him. Oprah said, if we make this just about Harvey, then we'll have lost this moment. That statement was an attempt to shift the focus from Harvey's crimes and victim stories to a bigger picture, because Oprah was desperate to paint herself as a hero. But not everybody was convinced. Oprah's former friend Seal took to Instagram to call her out for suspicious behavior, saying you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you're the solution. I forgot, that's right. You'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually serial harming young starry-eyed actresses. And that post was accompanied with a photo of Oprah kissing Harvey on the cheek. Now, Harvey is one of only many awful men tied to Oprah's brand. She's attended those big parties, and oh right, I'm forgetting something. She's featured 5 times in the files from Jeffrey's trial. I can't talk more about the trial for reasons, but come on. Another issue that follows Oprah wherever she goes is the controversy of her school in South Africa, the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls. It was built as a safe haven for disadvantaged girls, but it has proven to be kind of anything but that. Multiple students accused a dormitory matron, Virginia Makopo, of harm, and she was arrested in November of 2007 and then released on bail. News outlets claim that she faced 14 charges involving indecent acts with students. So after that trial, Oprah was sued by the headmistress of the school, Lerato Nyomfo Mzame, for defamation, which is kind of bad for you to be sued by your own headmistress. Mzame alleged that Oprah defamed her by implying that the headmaster was covering up the awfulness going on at the school. Granted, that case was settled out of court before the arranged trial, at least according to news outlets. But, sorry folks, the controversy does not end there. Speculation about numerous missing girls from the academy has spread like wildfire across social media. But the validity of these statements has not been confirmed or denied. Oprah and her team have been silent on the matter, and it seems like any articles raising concern over this situation are scrubbed from the internet. When was the last time you heard about Oprah's school after she had that big grand opening? A fair share of scandals have been attached to Oprah over the years. Yet, media coverage criticizing her for all these instances somehow always disappears. And Oprah's name is constantly tied to a bazillion crimes, whether it's due to her relationships or the instances with the school. But the only sources talking about this are concerned consumers on social media and small newspapers. Not a lot of major outlets have discussed Oprah's suspicious behavior. Instead, they continue to praise her. And yet, she doesn't deny anything. Selective media coverage plays a large role in maintaining her image. Power is used as a scare tactic to prevent reporters from bringing these topics to light. And look, Oprah's not innocent. Thanks to her weakness for theories that veer towards the decidedly out there, her legacy is tarnished, at least in my eyes. Okay, sure, we'll give her a point today. She did endorse a lot of credible things. Barack Obama, John Steinbeck's East of Eden, became a bestseller after she featured it. I think it was like 51 years after it was originally published. But then on the other hand, let's talk about some bad things, okay? So we have her to blame for Jenny McCarthy spewing her opinions. You know, the opinion that vaccinations cause autism. She said that on the Oprah Winfrey Show back in 2007 and has been repeatedly cited as a factor in the return of many diseases, such as whooping cough, and in the US, mostly in the US. Let's talk about Dr. Oz, the Turkish-American heart surgeon who first appeared on Oprah back in 2004 and quickly became part of Oprah's team of experts. Well, he dispenses with facts he doesn't find convenient. He manifests an egregious lack of integrity. Why? Well, he promotes quack treatments and cures in the interest of personal financial gain. He's more like an influencer than an actual doctor these days. And that's coming from a lot of colleagues who are like, yeah, no, his endorsements are immoral.
Are you risking anything at all entering the political arena to endorse Kamala Harris? And I think the answer people understand in this time and place is yes.
There couldn't have been a life like mine, a career like mine, a success like mine without a country like America.
Were you silent or were you silenced?
Oh, is it true that they paid you $1 million for the endorsement for Kamala?
Not true.
Not true, okay.
I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Live right now.
So, the Washington Examiner on Friday, November 8th, 2024 breaks this story about how Oprah Winfrey's production company is paid $1 million by Kamala Harris's campaign. $1 million, big money. This was a quote from political commentator Ben O'Reilly on his No Spin News show. Try saying that 5 times fast. And he said, and I quote, "And you remember Oprah did a bunch of displays. Let's call them for Miss Harris." We confirmed that number is true, but Oprah denied it. Oprah was reportedly confronted by TMZ and said that the reporting was not true, stating that she was paid nothing. O'Reilly noted that the $1 million in campaign funds was reported to have gone to Oprah Winfrey's Harpo Productions on October 15th in West Hollywood, California. And that's the way it goes, he said. So, I got 3 corporations, and a lot of the money that goes into the corporations eventually someday will come to me, but I don't get paid directly. It just comes in. So Oprah was doing a little 2-step here, and she finally had to admit it. Oprah reportedly explained that the funds were used to pay those who worked on the productions, stating, "Okay, I did not take any personal fee. However, the people who worked on that production needed to be paid, and they were. End of story." And like O'Reilly said, it would have been the end of the story if you had told the truth up front. Why did she have to dance around? She could have just said, well, yes, we took the money so we could pay our employees, which is a great thing. So long before Oprah was this billionaire media mogul that we all know today, who is romantically linked to Stedman Graham, young Oprah Winfrey reportedly had a different boyfriend, John Tesh. So in her unauthorized Oprah Winfrey tell-all, celebrity biographer Kitty Kelly claims that Oprah and the one-time Entertainment Tonight co-host were lovers who shared an apartment in Nashville, Tennessee back in the mid-1970s. According to an excerpt from the book, Tesh abandoned Oprah because of the intense social pressure of their interracial romance. He couldn't take it anymore. He walked out in the middle of the night and he felt very guilty about it. Now, Tesh did confirm to Entertainment Tonight that he and Oprah were reporters in Nashville together about 40 years ago, and they did date for a short time. And he mentioned how they're still friends to this day, but it's just like, okay, so what does Stedman have to say about it? Because Oprah technically stepped out of that relationship. Despite being a longtime ambassador for Weight Watchers, Now, the famous talk show host did confirm in the last year that she's now using an unknown substance to help control her weight. In a revealing chat, Oprah was like, yes, my new slim figure is thanks to that and a healthier lifestyle overall. She said, I now use it as I feel it, as a tool to manage not yo-yoing. The fact that there's a medically approved prescription for managing weight and staying healthier in my lifetime feels like, her words, redemption. Feels like a relief, like a gift, not something to hide behind and once again be ridiculed for. Oprah did also say that she's absolutely done with the shaming from other people and particularly herself. Here's the thing though, a lot of fans felt like she was being hypocritical, given that she was a proud spokesperson for Weight Watchers for many years. She was on their board. Somebody wrote on social media, what I don't like about Oprah is she is clearly off doing Ozempic, yet she's still pushing Weight Watchers. Done with the shaming but okay with lying? Others called out the star for letting folks believe she did it the old-fashioned way, asking why she lied. Because folks, for a hot minute, if you didn't know last year, Oprah was very openly against Ozempic and similar products while she was still on the Weight Watchers board. But it's only since she left and she said she's going to donate so much money or whatever, Oprah's move away from Weight Watchers isn't just a professional transition, it also kind of marks a broader cultural shift. As GLP-1 substances like Ozempic explode in popularity, the idea of relying on willpower to lose weight is kind of going out of fashion, as well as society's short-lived flirtation with body positivity. Thin is dangerously in again, and we've got to be careful. Back in 2012, Oprah gushed for weeks about Microsoft's Surface tablet, which she compared to a Mercedes and named one of her favorite things of 2012. So one day she went a step further. She sent out a little tweet. She had like 14.8 million followers and she said, love that Surface. Apparently she already bought 12 of them for Christmas, but there's one little teensy-weensy problem. So this is back when Twitter was, you know, a little more old school. You would see where you tweeted from. Well, Oprah, or whoever managed her Twitter account at the time, sent the tweet from an iPad. Now, obviously, everybody online saw that because it was very much like sent from iPad, and they had things to say. To quote one expert, she does have legions of fans, making her an effective marketing channel for Microsoft, except for when the narrative around her promotion is tossed on its head by a foolish and utterly avoidable mistake. As you have it, folks, Surface ads, now brought to you by iPad. Doesn't look really good. The legend of Oprah Winfrey as somebody who was very poor, growing up without a father, having a mother that was too young, Oprah was carried with shame during pregnancy and then was neglected. All of this began to spread when Oprah was giving interviews in Chicago. She said, oh, how they harmed me. I wanted to be white because I never saw white people being hurt. She said her earlier years of life were lonely. She didn't play with anybody except for the pig she rode without a saddle in her grandma's garden. She said the only people she could talk to were the animals in the farmyard. Apparently she read them Bible stories, so they had a Bible. Apparently, you know, living with her mom when her mom was on welfare, even worse. She said they were so poor they couldn't afford any pets. She listed off no dogs, no cats. She had cockroaches though. Very specifically, she put them in a jar and named them Melinda and Sandy. I feel like there's some relevance there. I forget what. Let me know in the comments if you know. She went on to entertain her audiences with stories about fetching water from the well, milking cows, emptying the drinking pots. You know, that was her life. She told stories about her grandmother who swung a switch, her grandfather with a stick. These were the people who raised her before her mother, by the way. She said, oh yes, once again, she wanted to be white. She never saw white people being on the other end of a stick or a switch. She said it's part of Southern tradition. That's how old folks raise their family. You spill something, you meet the switch. You tell a story, you meet the switch. And I mean by story, I mean fib, folks. She said that it could happen all day, all night, and nobody could ever get tired about it. Now here's the thing, not everybody in Oprah's family agrees with this narrative. Her mother, Vernita, when asked about her daughter's tales, said Oprah's a bit of a cold smoker. And if you don't know what that means, Oprah's a bit of a liar. Oprah's sister later dispelled the myth of immense poverty. Patricia said, of course we weren't rich, but Oprah exaggerated how bad it was. She thinks it's because the viewers would love her, the audience would grow. It's controversial, it's newsworthy, it's clickworthy. Cockroaches were never her pet. Apparently she always had a dog. She had a cat. She had an eel in a tank. She had a parakeet, which like, so cute. You know, those ones can speak? Yeah, so she named it Bo Peep. Adorable. Where Oprah got that nonsense about growing up in filth and roaches, her cousin has no idea. Now, her cousin said she's confronted Oprah and asked, like, why do you tell such lies? And Oprah said, well, that's what people want to hear. The truth is boring. Well, I don't know, girl. I would like to know the truth. Maybe? Possibly? So on air, Oprah is portrayed as giving, let's just say. I'm not gonna call her sweet because we've all heard her interviews, but she's giving. Well, according to her stepmom, apparently Oprah is not very giving. According to Barbara, Oprah is one of the most controlling people you will ever meet. So let's say Barbara's in town and she wants to go visit Oprah and maybe like stay with her, hang out, be familial. Oprah said, no, you can stay in a hotel, pay for your own hotel room. Apparently Oprah's quick to anger when it comes to her staff. Folks get fired very easily. But here's the thing. So once again, remember, Oprah's a billionaire, right? So when Oprah decides she wants to go visit like her mother-in-law, she can do it. She can stay with Barbara, but then Oprah's gonna complain. And it's like, really, you're going to complain about generosity? But apparently, oh no, the bed sheets aren't 1,000 thread, the bath towels aren't big enough. Like, I don't know, if you hate it that much, go stay in a hotel. I'm sure you can rent out an entire hotel. Oprah Winfrey paid a fortune to Apple TV to buy back the rights to a documentary about her life. So I think it was in 2021, Apple announced that Oscar-winning filmmaker Kevin McDonald would be directing a documentary about Oprah. Which, hey, everybody's like, yeah. But here's the thing. Sources are saying that McDonald, who teamed up with Oprah's longtime producer, Lisa, on the project, clashed with Oprah after he finished the film, and it's been on ice ever since. According to sources, Kevin made the film, Oprah didn't like it, he refused to change it, and Oprah has paid back her fee to Apple. So while industry sources speculate that Oprah would have to pay quite a bit of do-re-mi to get the rights to the documentary back, apparently it wasn't too much. It was an affordable amount. Well, affordable for a billionaire. And technically, Oprah's documentary isn't the first high-profile one to be put on ice. Like, the Prince documentary is being held hostage, thanks to objections from his estate, which they'll know what to say no to.
Oprah for president.
I love that.
You do?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've known her well for a long time.
Yes.
Think she could do it?
Yeah, I know she could do it, without a doubt.
I would say, Oprah Winfrey, you know what you need to do. And stop hiding behind what you call was negative comments, what you call, oh, I don't even deal with things like that.
Oh, you know.
That's so interesting.
A leaked video of Oprah Winfrey inviting guests to Diddy's 29th birthday party has just been leaked. Now, Oprah was joined by other well-known celebrities and invited other famous people in a video invitation. Now, if she was a part of this invitation, I think it's safe to say that she attended the party. And listen, Oprah has been spotted with Diddy multiple times at parties, charity events, and she even invited him on her talk show. Yep, you heard that right. And on an episode, he raised some eyebrows as he refused to answer one question. In 2006, while making an appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show, Oprah tried to get to the bottom of Diddy's stage names, why he changed them, and what they meant. Diddy, though, was not going to give up that information. Diddy said, "It's a nickname somebody gave me. I've never told anyone that. I know you get people to tell you everything, Oprah, but I can't look you in the eyes and explain that one." He then shoved the question aside and said, "It's just a silly name," and it was made pretty clear that he didn't want to share the deeper meaning and the significance of his stage name. Now, what's strange about this is that Oprah did not probe him anymore and just accepted the fact that she wouldn't get an answer. Diddy then said, "I'll answer every other question except that one." Now, Diddy has gone through a lot of different names. In 1996, under the name Puff Daddy, he released his first commercial vocal work as a rapper. He then changed his stage name from Puff Daddy to P. Diddy in 2001. No more Puff Daddy. The first week in June, we're gonna have a name change ceremony, he announced on MTV News. "I'm rocking with P. Diddy now. My man Biggie gave me that name." Now, on August 16th, 2005, he announced on Today that he was altering his stage name yet again and would be calling himself Diddy. He then said fans did not know how to address him, which led to confusion. He then changed his name again on November 5th, 2017, when he announced that he'd be going by the name Love, stating, "My new name is Love, aka Brother Love." 2 days later, he told the press he had been joking, but on January 3rd, 2018, he announced on Jimmy Kimmel Live that he had changed his mind again and will be using the new name after all. Now, the change became official in 2022, and per Personally, I just call him Diddy. I mean, all of this is really confusing, and not only for me, many people have been confused by what to call him and why he has all these different names that constantly change. Now, in his other interviews, he has opened up about his many nicknames, as he told Jet magazine in 1998 that he had a temper when he was younger and his friends started calling him Puffy. While speaking with CNN, he shared, "I've had different name changes because I only just grew up in a neighborhood where everyone had nicknames. My first nickname was Puffy." He said he was given the nickname Puff as a child because he would huff and puff when he was angry. It seems like his name will remain just one more secret that Diddy keeps from the world. Now, I don't know why he's making it such a big deal though. It honestly just makes him even more suspicious. I mean, why wouldn't he want to share it unless it was something bad, right? I don't know. It's all just very, very weird. And of course, this isn't the first weird interview that Diddy has had, and looking back now, I can't believe we let him get away with so much of the stuff he did. Now, Oprah is rich and powerful in Hollywood, but she's surrounded herself with some questionable men to say the least. She used to be really good friends with Harvey Weinstein, and well, we all know what happened to him. Now, some celebrities called her out for this, as Rose McGowan tweeted a photo of Oprah and Harvey together, saying, "I'm glad more are seeing the ugly truth of @Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't. From being pals with Weinstein to abandoning and destroying Russell Simmons' victims, she is about supporting a sick power structure for personal gain. She is as fake as they come. #Lizard. Now, Rose isn't the first person to call Oprah out on this, as her former friend Seal made a post when Oprah said we should focus on the bigger picture instead of Harvey's crimes and victims. "You have been a part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution," Seal said. "Oh, and I forgot, that's right. You'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea that he was actually doing these things to young starry-eyed actresses. My bad." Now, Snoop Dogg has even made multiple posts calling out the star. Now, you know it's bad when other celebrities and her past friends are calling her out. It seems like Oprah has a pattern of hanging out with these types of men, and that begs the question, has she been involved in any of these crimes? I mean, she had some pretty sketchy things come out about her all-girls school that she started in South Africa. The Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls opened in Johannesburg in 2007, and it was founded with $40 million of Oprah's own money. But less than a year later, 6 of the 152 students who had been personally selected by Oprah to attend the institution came forward to accuse dorm matron Virginia Tiny McGobo of mistreating them. Now, she was arrested in November 2007 and released on bail, and she faced 14 different charges. It seems like Oprah and the organization did not look into who they were hiring and how the operation was running on a daily basis. Now, it's so sad because this could have been prevented. Now, following the first trial, Oprah was then sued by the headmistress of this girls' school for defamation. She alleged that Oprah defamed her by implying she was covering up the mistreatment going on at the school. However, the case was later settled outside of court before the arranged trial. That's not all that happened there though, as in 2009 there was another scandal about mistreatment. 7 of the school students were suspended for harassing their classmates. The New York Daily News also reported that the alleged perpetrators also attempted to entice their classmates into lesbian relationships. A South African news outlet also revealed that one of the girls demanded her victims lie to the police about what happened. There have also been rumors that girls have been going missing at the school, never to be seen again. Could Oprah have been taking the girls for her own use? I don't know, but it's just weird overall. Not to mention that parents have also come forward with complaints about the school. In March 2007, some parents complained because they were only allowed to visit their children once a month, and the girls were only allowed to use their cell phones on weekends. One parent said, "It's a nightmare. We had only 2 hours to see my child. Surely this isn't prison or an institution." Another mother said her homesick daughter was very upset over the rules. "Michelle phones me in tears sometimes, and then I don't know what to say to her." Shockingly, the school is still up and running, which is crazy considering all the scandals that have happened there, and I would honestly never send my kid there, as it seems like there's more bad than there is good, and it wouldn't be worth it. Now, Ray J, who was friends with Diddy, has spoken out about some celebrities that are paying off their victims when it comes to freak-offs. Now, could Oprah be one of these celebrities? Ray J said, "I'm hearing about artists paying victims to keep their name out of it. Somebody has the truth, somebody pays you to keep it quiet, and hopefully that money you got paid secures your happiness while you watch the lie continue to succeed. Interviewer Harvey Levin then pushed Ray J by asking if he knew anyone personally who had been offered money to stay quiet. The songwriter replied, "Here's the other way around it, Harvey. I'll give you money, please don't talk." He then claimed the high-profile individuals are reaching out to him, alleging they want to talk to me about what happened to them, they call me, they feel like they can trust me. Levin then asked if those contacting Ray J are high-profile celebrities who have an affiliation with Diddy, and he responded, "Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, and I don't even know why I said it, but I said it, so what? Now they gonna be mad, come get me." Ray J then said, "I think I said too much." In the interview, he did not name any of the celebrities, but it still raised eyebrows. Now, could Oprah be one of the stars he was talking about? I guess we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out.
An old interview of the Olsen twins on The Oprah Show has left fans disgusted after the girls were asked invasive questions by the talk show host, and it's even worse when you take the context into account. The Olsen twins were Hollywood's darlings in the early 2000s. I mean, they still are, but they have moved from being in front of the camera to exciting behind-the-scenes ventures, and they're mainly in the fashion world now. Some people believe that the reason they switched industries is because the pressure to be perfect was too great. The pair did literally grow up on camera. They starred on Full House together when they were little, and then went on to film like 20 movies, TV shows, music, a magazine. Like, they were booked and busy. Because they are twins and did almost everything together, people often combined their financial gains into one, and together they became essentially billionaires before they turned 21. That was due to all their Hollywood projects, but also because once they were old enough, they took over their businesses and it was worth a lot. Nowadays, they're probably still getting a lot of royalties, but most of their revenue seems to be coming from their various fashion brands. All of this to say, they've grown up comfortably and widely adored, so one would think that they were having a great time. Not necessarily the case. They grew up in the public eye, so their every move was watched. Growing pains were on full display, and people loved to comment on them and their bodies, and at such an impressionable age, with so many people talking about their physical appearance like it was their God-given right, it took a toll on the woman. One of those people that considered the twins' weight a topic of conversation was none other than Oprah Winfrey. It's 2004, and the twins are almost 18. They're sitting down for an interview with Oprah. The interview covers a lot, but one section really stuck out. Oprah brings up a recent rumor that had been circulating about Mary-Kate, that she was struggling with an eating disorder. Yeah, Oprah pretty much asked about it outright. She said, "I know a new rumor recently surfaced that has really upset you, right?" The girls didn't answer right away, so Oprah continued, "You know, the one about eating." Again, Mary-Kate was struggling with this at the time, and Oprah's like, "What if we got into it on national television? Let's talk about it." That in of itself is pretty problematic, especially considering their age, but it somehow got worse. The girls kind of try to respond, but not give too many personal details away, saying that people are going to write what they're gonna write, and that they just try not to read any of it, good or bad. Ashley remarked about the pressures to look a certain way, and yet nothing you do ever being good enough, you're always too something. However, mid-answer, Oprah interjected to outright ask what size the twins were. Ashley did look pretty surprised by the question, and the pair tried to kind of laugh it off and didn't end up actually responding with an actual size, instead opting to say that they were short and petite. Oprah's response to this was, "That's so interesting," following up with, "I'm obsessed with size," and you're like, "I really don't know." I kind of get what she was going for with that statement, but also not really, so don't ask me to explain. What I do understand is that the twins looked pretty uncomfortable with the questions, especially compared to the reactions to other topics from the interview, like their college dreams and how to tell the two apart. As the topic kind of came to a close, Mary-Kate said, "If we were obsessed with our size, it'd be, I don't know, a different story." People nowadays aren't just upset with Oprah though, but also the audience, because they laughed frequently during the conversation. And sure, we do exist in a very different time today, but even back then, a grown woman that has been very public with her weight loss journey, that decided to address problematic rumors about young stars, not just their weight but potential eating disorders, and also asking what size they were exactly, It feels weird and people are unhappy. People are especially upset with Oprah Winfrey for asking Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen about their weight on the talk show, not just because the question was like unnecessary for anyone but especially young people. The twins were uncomfortable and Mary-Kate was dealing with some personal matters related to weight behind the scenes, but also because Oprah's built an entire empire on the topic of weight. She was an investor in Weight Watchers and a spokesperson until 2024. Per the Daily Mail, she left the position due to her use of Ozempic and other weight loss medicines. I mean, lots of celebrities have admitted to using these things, so why was it a problem specifically for Oprah? Well, previously, she had said that she didn't want to use things like that because they were the easy way out. At a panel hosted in 2023, Oprah talked about how important it is to be accepting of whatever body you choose to be in. She also discussed how she no longer feels ashamed of using the medicines and instead uses it as a tool in her weight loss journey, same as physical activity or diets. People are just kind of upset that someone that has been very vocal about their struggles with weight would put another person, then rumored to also be struggling with their weight, on the spot and then ask them to talk about their own experience on national TV. After their appearance on the Oprah show, in which they were directly asked about Mary-Kate's then rumored eating disorder, Mary-Kate actually did end up in rehab in the summer. The reason why, for treatment for anorexia, was revealed later on. I'm sure Oprah's comments on her show weren't the only reason for the actress going, though they probably just didn't help. The topic of the twins' weight was being discussed by many different people and celebrity gossip publications. There were articles upon articles about how thin the girls were and how worried people were. There was even one magazine that I found that had a detailed breakdown of the food that they would eat in a day, down to a split mini muffin and cubes of beef. It was quite literally the strangest thing I've ever seen. Though the pair have definitely been through it when it comes to media attention, they acknowledge how grateful they are for their opportunities and the fact that they were able to make it out with minimal damage. I mean, going to rehab is not great, that's not what I'm saying, but they had spoken in interviews before disappearing about how they were grateful that they never reached the point of like a public breakdown. For the most part, they did deal with personal matters in private. One of the sisters in particular referenced Britney Spears' well-known breakdown and how she was glad that she never experienced public pressure to that point. The twins have adopted a private lifestyle in every sense of the word. It extends even into their fashion lines. When their brand, The Row, first started taking off, at first the women were hesitant about being the faces for it. They even briefly considered not letting people know that they were behind the luxury brand and instead getting a different figurehead. The clothes, they are also pretty discreet when it comes to their branding. The sisters have said that they don't even like putting things in the windows at their shops. Last year in March for Paris Fashion Week, as they debuted their new The Row collection, they encouraged guests not to take any photos or videos at all. It maintains privacy, sure, but it also just makes everything seem even more exclusive for their designer label. Paris also happens to be the latest city that their stores have expanded to. Even though the pair were doing fine for their age, they were always too much of something for the people to be happy with their appearance. Plus, the 2000s were a time when not being a size 2 or under was like committing a deadly sin in Hollywood. I don't know what size the twins really were, I do not care. However, it is really sad that they had to go through having a bunch of adults making unsolicited comments about their bodies while they were growing up. It clearly took a toll considering Mary-Kate ended up struggling with anorexia. Mary-Kate spent the 6 weeks in rehab before being released before the summer was over. At the time, the twins and their publicist had said that the girls understood that the public wanting every little detail about their personal lives and how they lived their life was expected to come with the territory, but it doesn't make the comments any better though. The Olsen twins have since kind of departed Hollywood. I mean, like, not completely. Their sister, Elizabeth Olsen, is definitely taking up the acting torch, and the twins have actually shifted gears into a totally different art form, which is fashion. And they're doing a great job, still making public appearances, but definitely staying out of the spotlight in comparison to what they used to do. They now run a few different brands. They always had an interest in the fashion industry, even before they could legally head a company. They were the faces for various businesses. They had a clothing line for girls in Walmart that was wildly successful, and then when they were older, they started a few more brands like The Row, Elizabeth and James, Olsen Boy, and Stylement. They've won awards in the field and generally received praise on social media for their clothing and personal style. But according to CelebrityNetwork.com, the twins have a combined net worth of $1 billion.
And I was pretty defensive. I was defending my turf and defending every single viewer who had bought that book.
You know what? It's so disturbing to me. Why is my name even in this conversation?
Because you're Oprah Winfrey.
Can I say something?
Were you silent or were you silenced?
Are you risking anything at all entering the political arena to endorse Kamala Harris? And I think the answer people understand in this time and place is yes.
Ever thought Oprah Winfrey could rub somebody the wrong way? Kinda hard to believe, right? Well, even the Queen of Talk isn't everyone's cup of tea. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on the celebrities who just can't stand Oprah. We'll dive into Monique's fiery allegations of betrayal, James Frey's dramatic downfall after Oprah's public scolding, and the unexpected tensions with stars like Angelina Jolie and Seal. Starting off today, we are talking about Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie and Oprah Winfrey, two of the most influential women in the world, seemed destined to join forces, especially when it comes to philanthropy in Africa. Oprah, passionate about empowering young girls through her Leadership Academy in South Africa, saw an ideal partner in Angelina, who has been a goodwill ambassador and adopted her daughter Zahara from Ethiopia. But when Oprah extended an invitation to collaborate, Angelina reportedly turned it down, leaving many scratching their heads and fueling the rumor mill. Whispers began circulating that the snub wasn't just a scheduling conflict. Remember when Brad Pitt left Jennifer Aniston for Angelina? Well, Oprah was openly sympathetic to Jennifer during that highly publicized split, firmly placing herself on Team Jen. Some speculate that Angelina wasn't too thrilled about Oprah's public support for her then rival. While neither has publicly addressed any tension, the story definitely adds an interesting layer to the complex tapestry of Hollywood relationships. Next, we are talking about Randy Jackson. From Randy Jackson's perspective, the whole Oprah situation felt like a slap in the face. Imagine watching someone you believe has a grudge against your late brother Michael not only interview your parents, but also get cozy with your nieces and nephews on national television. Randy couldn't shake the feeling that Oprah had it out for Michael, especially given how she seemed to spotlight his legal troubles at every turn. He took to social media, tweeting his frustration for the world to see. "I know how Oprah feels about my brother and family." To Randy, it wasn't just an interview, it was like a betrayal. He believed that Oprah was exploiting his family's pain for ratings, and that didn't sit right with him. The tension was definitely palpable, and from Randy's viewpoint, Oprah's actions only fueled the fire of distrust he had harbored for years. It's no wonder he became one of the celebrities who just can't stand Oprah Winfrey. Next, we are talking about Seal. Remember when Oprah delivered that electrifying speech at the 2018 Golden Globes? The one that had everyone on their feet and even sparked chatter about her running for president? More on that later. Well, not everyone was applauding. Enter Seal, the British singer known for his hits like Kiss from a Rose. Out of nowhere, he took to Instagram and threw some serious shade at Oprah. He posted a meme featuring photos of her cozying up to a certain ex-Hollywood executive who we shall not name due to his disgusting actions, but if you're wondering who I'm talking about, let's just say the Hollywood producer who had been exposed for decades of gross behavior and misconduct. The caption read, quote, "When you've been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution." Seal didn't stop there. He added his own biting words. "Oh, I forgot, that's right, you'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually serially harming young starry-eyed actresses who in turn had no idea what they were getting into. My bad." Talk about throwing down the gauntlet. His post ignited a firestorm, with fans and critics fiercely debating whether Seal was out of line or if he was courageously calling out hypocrisy. Many felt Seal was unfairly targeting Oprah without solid proof, pointing out her long-standing advocacy for women's rights and empowerment. Others thought he was highlighting a deeper issue in Hollywood's culture of silence. Seal later clarified that his intention wasn't to personally attack Oprah, but to shed light on the broader problem. Next, we are talking about Roseanne Barr.
Okay, Roseanne Barr is definitely no stranger to controversy, and when it comes to Oprah Winfrey, she's definitely fired some shots. So picture this, it's 2008, the Democratic primaries are in full swing, and Roseanne is passionately supporting Hillary Clinton. Then comes Oprah throwing her influential weight behind Barack Obama. Roseanne didn't take kindly to this at all. She went on a public tirade accusing Oprah of being a quote closeted Republican and claiming she wasn't standing up for the working American woman. In Roseanne's eyes, Oprah's endorsement felt like a betrayal to the sisterhood, especially when a woman had a shot at the presidency. But Roseanne didn't stop there. Even after issuing an apology for her heated words, she couldn't resist stirring the pot once again. When whispers began about Oprah possibly running for president herself, Roseanne chimed in with her trademark bluntness. She quipped that she'd make a better president than Oprah, even throwing in actress Susan Sarandon for good measures. I'm really not sure where that came from. It was classic Roseanne, unfiltered and unapologetic. Her ongoing jabs kept the media buzzing and added another chapter to the list of celebrities who can't stand Oprah. James Frey thought he'd struck gold when Oprah selected his memoir, A Million Little Pieces, for her coveted book club. Overnight, his raw and gritty tale of addiction skyrocketed to the top of bestseller lists. But then, the bombshell dropped. Investigative journalists revealed that Frey had fabricated and exaggerated significant portions of his quote true story. When Oprah got wind of the deception, she felt personally betrayed, and she wasn't about to let that slide. In a tense and unforgettable episode of her show, Oprah brought Frey back for a public reckoning. Sitting across from him, she definitely did not mince her words. Quote, "I feel duped," she told him bluntly. Quote, "But more importantly, I feel that you betrayed millions of readers." The studio was dead silent as Frey squirmed under her gaze. The confrontation was brutal, and it played out in front of millions of viewers. The fallout was immediate. His publisher dropped him, bookstores pulled his book, and his reputation took a nosedive. Although they eventually reconciled years later, the damage was done. Frey had experienced firsthand the immense power Oprah wielded, and the peril of falling out of her favor. It's no surprise that he remains one of the celebrities who cannot stand Oprah. His story definitely serves as a cautionary tale. When you cross Oprah, there's nowhere to hide from the spotlight. And finally, we are ending off this list today with Monique. Monique's clash with Oprah Winfrey is one of Hollywood's most gripping tales of friendship gone wrong. Monique, fresh off her Oscar win for Precious, was on top of the world. She had always admired Oprah, seeing her as a mentor and a beacon of empowerment, but things took a very sharp turn when Oprah decided to air a show featuring Monique's family. A family fraught with painful memories. Oprah invited Monique's brother, who had admitted to harming her, for an exclusive interview. Monique had reluctantly given her blessing for this, hoping that it might bring healing to others. However, what she didn't expect was for Oprah to also invite her mother and father onto the show without her knowledge. Learning that her estranged parents were part of the episode felt like a punch in the gut. Monique was blindsided and felt deeply betrayed. She believed that Oprah had exploited her personal trauma for television ratings, turning her most vulnerable moments into sensationalized content. It wasn't just about the interview, it was about the trust that was shattered. Feeling cornered, Monique began to speak out. She accused Oprah, along with industry giants Tyler Perry and Lee Daniels, of blackballing her in Hollywood. She claimed that after she refused to aggressively promote Precious without any additional pay, they labeled her as being difficult, which is a tag that can be career-ending in show business. According to Monique, these powerful figures used their influence to sideline her, effectively putting her in what she called a Hollywood prison. In her stand-up routines and in interviews, Monique didn't hold back. She called out Oprah by name, making it crystal clear that the wounds were deep and the bridge was burnt. To her, Oprah wasn't the inspiring figure the world adored, but someone who had betrayed her trust and completely derailed her career.
How's everything with you? Good to see you.
Everything's good with me.
Everything's good?
Yeah.
Oprah may have laughed off rumors before, but this isn't just some internet conspiracy. There's an ongoing FBI investigation, and the fact that she felt the need to vanish right now, that's hard to ignore.
You attend any of P. Diddy's parties?
Oprah, happy birthday.
It's not easy for me, for Jay, for Oprah. I don't want nobody to get it twisted.
I can't wait to see y'all.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see y'all. And I just want to say I'm proud of y'all, especially the girls. I mean, all of y'all, but just for being strong.
Some claim that when Homeland Security raided Diddy's properties, they weren't just looking for a paper trail. They were wiping out digital evidence. Could Oprah be involved in that tangled web too?
They are saying that Oprah Winfrey and Diddy, they go way back. They are very close friends, and they are even saying that she has something to do with the Diddy parties.
As details from the Diddy situation continue to surface, new famous names keep getting attached to the music artist and his infamous parties. The latest on the list is Oprah, and the true nature of their relationship might be different from what we thought we knew. A 2006 interview between the rapper and TV host has recently resurfaced amid Diddy's recent controversy. Since the rapper's activities were discovered, every comment and interview the man has ever done has suddenly taken on a very different vibe. Once innocent remarks now sound much more sinister. In this particular interview, what used to be a cheeky exchange between the music artist and Oprah now has people doing a double take and looking deeper than the surface. Oprah had inquired about the meaning behind Diddy's stage name, Diddy. His real name was actually, Sean Combs. The rapper was reluctant to share the story behind the name, saying, "It's a nickname somebody gave me. I've never told anyone that. I know you get people to tell you everything, Oprah." And that exchange doesn't seem so bad, but it's the next line that is making people uncomfortable. He finished his statement with, "But I can't look you in the eye and explain that one." What does that mean? It definitely sounds suspicious, and people are side-eyeing that moment. At the time, it could be assumed that maybe the story came from a childhood hijinks, maybe an embarrassing story, but after everything that has surfaced about the star's activities behind closed doors, people's minds wandered to a much darker place. Diddy claimed in that 2006 interview that he would answer every other question, just not that one. At the time, the question was, what could have been so bad to warrant that kind of response? But today, we might not have to wonder about that so hard. People originally believed Diddy's name change from Puff Daddy to P. Diddy might have had something to do with a 1999 altercation in a Manhattan club involving J-Lo.
Comments about P. Diddy, the allegations?
Go back and look, don't lean. Jennifer, get your sign, don't lean. Nice your sign.
For Diddy and J-Lo, the century went out dramatically. While partying the night away on December 27th, things quickly took a violent turn. What was once a fun night on the town soured when J-Lo, Diddy, his bodyguard, and another music artist, Shine, got into a disagreement with other club patrons that eventually ended in a fight. There were weapons involved in the disagreement, and people were injured by projectiles.
Whenever celebrities or someone notable is making their way through the club, you know how it is. Now, was he aiming at me? Was I the object of his fear? Absolutely not. I should not have been, because I didn't do anything to him.
After Diddy and J-Lo had fled the scene, they engaged in a car chase with police before being apprehended and taken into custody. While J-Lo was released and cleared of all charges after 14 hours, Diddy wasn't so lucky. He was sent to trial and eventually was also cleared of all charges. The only person not cleared was Shine. He did serve jail time. Now, years down the road, and Diddy is back in hot water and once again facing jail time after being faced with over 24 lawsuits accusing the rapper of being violent and acting in an inappropriate manner towards his victims. After a raid of the rapper's home, he was discovered to have owned over 1,000 bottles of what was rumored to have been baby oil. The potential jail time this time around for Diddy is potentially 15 years to life. A.D. Carson is a professor of hip-hop in the Global South currently teaching at the University of Virginia, and he used his expertise to comment on the Diddy situation and how his rise to fame worked. He even referenced something called the Diddy phenomenon. Diddy's parties, stories from them, about them, they're everywhere. But none of his parties are as famous as the one he hosted every Labor Day. It was called the White Party because everyone had to wear white, because, well, it's Labor Day. In a 2006 interview with Oprah, Diddy actually let the TV host in on why the party existed in the first place, saying, "I wanted to strip away everyone's image and put us all in the same color and on the same level." Considering this party was attended by everyone from Paris Hilton to Beyonce to Leonardo DiCaprio, it makes sense why he would want to get everyone on the same page. Professor Carson's comments on Diddy pair well with the sentiment the music artist shared with Oprah that year. In Carson's words, rappers kind of operate with symbolic value to people. That's the Diddy phenomenon. Carson went even further and claimed that because Diddy eventually grew into a person that had a huge influence over black culture, it made him someone that other black celebrities wanted to be around. Diddy and Oprah were pictured partying together at the Met Gala after party in 2010. Other famous faces featured from those photos included Pharrell and Usher. Usher and Diddy have a, now, troubling history. Usher was signed to Diddy's record label and sent to live with the rapper when he was quite young. In 2004, Usher recounted to Rolling Stone that his time spent at Diddy's New York home was interesting and introduced him to a whole new world. A world that Diddy is currently being accused of forcing on people now. So, yeah, years down the line, Usher's comments from this interview are seeming pretty horrific. Since that interview, the star has stayed way quieter about his time spent in Diddy's home. This isn't the first time, though, that Oprah has found her name tied to some questionable characters. She was famously close to that guy who shares a name with a burger place and whose last name rhymes with Leinstein. She was publicly called out by Seal for her relationship to this person. The man posted a picture to his Instagram, the top image showing Oprah kissing this person on the cheek with the text, "When you have been part of the problem for decades," and then the bottom image showing the person engaging in conversation with Oprah and another woman, this one with the text, "But suddenly they all think you are the solution." Seal added his own caption to this photo, calling out an individual for hearing the rumors but not doing anything about it, and implying that the person was pretending that they didn't know what was happening. While Seal didn't explicitly name names, there were faces in those pictures, particularly Oprah's, so everyone assumed he was taking a dig at the talk show host. Seal insisted this wasn't the case, it just happened to be Oprah that was the one pictured with the man. It was more about him than her, and the text was meant more as a generalization of the entertainment industry than a direct attack. She also has her own related and themed scandals attached to her name, like that of the school Oprah opened in South Africa, the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls. What was originally designed and opened as a place to uplift the girls was quickly defiled by a scandal. The dorm matron was accused by multiple students of acting inappropriately towards them. They were arrested and faced 14 charges at the time. The matron was also accused of physically conflicting with a dorm parent and injuring 3 while operating a golf cart. Adding more to the scandal, Oprah was later sued by the school's headmistress for over $250,000. The headmistress had sued for defamation, and it was a direct result of the situation with the dorm matron. While that horrible situation was happening, Winfrey had publicly commented that she was essentially doing a complete overhaul of the school and that she had lost confidence in the headmistress. The headmistress claimed that these comments made it much harder for her to find work. The details of the situation are messy. Court papers from the case read that Winfrey had planned to hire nurses to act as the dorm matrons. However, the headmistress went a different route and, per an article from CBS News, hired 8 young women from a local company called Party Design. Winfrey's lawyers at the time wrote about this decision, saying these young women were later found to be totally unqualified to handle the position, something the headmistress had been warned about. The 2 women were expected to settle this in court, but instead came to an agreement privately shortly before the date. Though there are things that the TV host should be held accountable for, there have also been many false reports made about her in recent months. It was recently reported that longtime friend of Oprah's, Gayle King, had filed a lawsuit against the TV host, but there are actually no facts backing this. Another fabricated story that made its rounds was that Oprah was arrested last month after being accused of some stuff by Diddy, but that was also proven to be false.